Hey everyone, welcome. Come on. I'm so excited to have you guys here. This is amazing. First of all, welcome Mayor Vince Lago, the amazing. This guy has been he's been an amazing part of my experience here, but he's also brought so many cool companies. He's been a big part of Apple coming here, Citadel coming to the area, FIFA, so many other places, Ryder. So please just give him a round of applause before anything else. With that being said, thank you all for coming. I know this was really put together on short notice, and I'm very happy with how many people we got here. I was a little worried that we wouldn't make this venue look like we would make it look like a ghost town with how big it is, and it was very kind of the cost for cinema to provide this for us. So, without further ado, we're going to go ahead and get started. Make sure that we're going to do a little Q&A, we're going to do a little fireside chat, and then Q&A. So make sure to have your questions ready, get ready to raise your hands. And by the way, to all the people, I know it's fun to be in the back, feel free to pull on in, meet people. That's half of the experience here. You never know who you're going to meet. If you were one of the kids who was unfortunate enough to be in my classes for this, my line was, you never know who you're going to meet, and it's always the things you don't show up to that makes the difference, where you're like, I almost didn't go to that, and then I did, and something crazy happened. So please pull in, meet everyone. We're going to go ahead and get started, and some people are going to roll in and out. That's understandable, but that'll happen as the tide goes on. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get these questions started. I know that Emily's wondering, oh, I did get it. Okay, here's yours.
Thank you.
And here is mine.
Okay, pressing question, what is your favorite color? No, I'm joking. Thank you again for joining us. So I have a small list of questions for you. I think the most pressing one is, everyone knows what a mayor is, but I don't think everyone knows who the mayor is. So what would you say is your origin story to getting up until this point?
So first off and foremost, thank you for being here. It's an honor and a privilege to be in front of so many young leaders, future leaders of tomorrow. So I don't think I'm that old. I'm 46, but at the end of the day, I am a lot older than all of you. So I just want to say thank you for allowing me the privilege to spend some time and learn, because every moment that I have an opportunity to be with different people, I'm always learning from them. So no matter your age, no matter your background, no matter your demographic, who you are, at the end of the day, I'm learning. So I want you to be as candid with me, and you can ask me any question that you like. Nothing is off limits. I'm not one of these people that says, I don't have any handlers, I don't have a driver, I don't have staff. What you see is what you get. It's the mayor. I drive myself everywhere. Everything is open to discussion, and I look forward to your questions. So what got me here today? So I'm going to be very candid and tell you a little bit about how I got to where I am today. So what you see before you is a person who didn't make it as a baseball player, who wanted to be a baseball player at the University of Miami. And my junior year in high school at Gulliver, I was hit by a car on crossing Sunset and 57th Avenue, shattering my femur, my tibia, and my fibula. And I had a cast for 2 years, so I could never play sports again. And I was also not the best student, to put it mildly. Somehow, some way, I ended up with a finance and engineering degree and a master's in engineering. It worked out, I guess, right? And I'm also dyslexic, and I also have a bad case of ADD. I went to a special school for 4 years called Vanguard, which I'm very proud of. Most people, for some reason, are ashamed of their flaws. I think my flaws are what define me, and I'm very, very proud of it, to the extent that every single year I look forward to being called to speak at the commencement ceremony at Vanguard, which is a small school that's located in Coconut Grove. If you're not aware of it, it's a school that deals with children and young kids who have all different types of learning disabilities, and I'm one of those people. Okay, very proud of that. The learning disability lets me see things in a very different way than what you see things. You guys get up and see things normally. I have a different angle of seeing things, a way that I was taught to see things to overcome my learning disability. I don't see it as a crutch. I see it as something that defines who I am. One thing from a very young time in my life, I realized that, again, people saw me differently as a result of my learning disability. People, for some reason, had this impression that I could not be successful. So I developed a significant chip on my shoulder, which to this day, I've turned that chip into something positive. And as this gentleman who I've had the pleasure of knowing for the last year, I've taken my success and I've put it into a mentorship opportunity for people. So every single year I mentor 2 young men, and I give those young men the opportunity to show me before I mentor them if they're going to take this seriously or not. How serious are you about being mentored? And I put them through the gamut and a very rigorous list of items that I require for me to even bring you into my circle. If you're going to come into my circle, I want to make sure that you're prepared to handle my workload. My workload is very, very simple. Everybody wants to be successful. Everybody wants to be a millionaire. Everybody wants to own a company, but nobody wants to work. Everybody has an excuse. Everybody has an excuse. Can't work out this morning at 5 because I had too many drinks last night at the club. Right? My brother, stand up for a second if you can. I didn't know you were going to be here. Tell them who you are.
I'm Charles Townsend. I'm a senior studying exercise physiology and minor in marketing.
Where do you know me from?
I know him from the gym. He goes to the gym I used to work at in Coconut Grove, Coral Gables.
What time do you see me there?
5 a.m.
How many times a week? How many times a week?
Every day of the week. Even on Saturdays, Sundays.
Thank you, my brother. Appreciate you. So my point is, and that wasn't planned. My point is that my day is methodically and rigorously planned. And that goes back to the discussion about mentorship. When he came to see me, I put everybody through a very simple task. And the task is leave my office, go put a jacket on. Don't come back to my office without a jacket and a tie or a shirt, depending on what you're meeting for. I commend all of you. You guys look very well dressed, professional. I think that's what you should. That's one step to being ahead of everybody else is making sure that you are as well dressed as possible when you're engaging with somebody. And all you young ladies and men, you look very presentable, and I commend you on that. That's very impressive. I tell them, if you want to come back to me in a week and I want you to put together a plan of action. The plan of action is going to be, give me your 1 week goals, give me your 1 month goal, give me your 6 months goal, give me a year, give me 5, and give me 10 years. Put it in a 3-ring binder, type it up, give me your resume, read a book a month, and get involved in a philanthropic organization. Whatever you want. If it's about saving puppies, saving puppies. If it's about saving the ocean, saving the ocean. If it's about curing cancer, it's curing cancer. I don't care what it is, but get involved in something that is not about you, that is about giving back to somebody else. And do it religiously, once a week, 4 times a month. Give back. Be selfless. Be selfless. This world doesn't revolve around you. Make a friend. First thing I did when I saw this gentleman at the gym, I talked to him. I said, hey, where do you go to school? What are you involved in? What's going on? We struck up a friendship. I connected him with some people that could potentially help him in the future. It doesn't cost me anything. 0. As a matter of fact, it makes me feel really good to help somebody else. So he came back to me and he brought me his plan. Very few come back. Very few come back because it takes time. You have to meet with me every month. You have to tell me what you're doing. You have to give me an update. You have to be planned and scheduled. So my life is simple. My life starts at a point where I make a decision that I want to be successful. And I have to put my life in order and organize myself in a way that will put myself on the right path to be successful. So that's how it starts. I can go into a lot of detail, but if you want to be mentored, I'll mentor you at the end of the day. But you got to follow a path to success, which is very rigorous.
We love it. Amazing. So you mentioned all that you are. What do you think about how you were raised or your upbringing gave you that work ethic / just relentlessness when it came to your work?
So everybody in my family is either a doctor, a lawyer, or an engineer. Every single person in my family. There is no just going to college. It's my grandfather was a doctor, my grandmother, my father's a physician, my mother and my father met in Tulane Medical School. My parents came to this great country. By the way, this is the greatest country in the world. Anybody that tells you it's not, tell me another place. Tell me where a minority can come, their entire family can be educated. It's not perfect, far from perfect. We'll never find perfect. There's no utopia. Anybody tells you it's utopia is lying to you. There is no perfection. My parents came to this country. My dad was Peter Pan. You know what Peter Pan is? Pedro Pan. So Pedro Pan, for those that don't know, my dad came, my mom and my dad came to this country with nothing. They came alone because my grandparents were fighting the Castro regime in Cuba. And they came here alone as young kids, 10, 11 years old. They went to a school far apart away from each other. My mom was in Atlanta and my dad was here in Florida. And they studied. They didn't see their parents for years. And then they ended up meeting each other in Louisiana, where I was born, in Tulane. They came with nothing. And they studied. They studied hard. They worked. They didn't have anything. They became physicians. They planned. And they eventually had us, myself, my brother, my sister. My brother's a lawyer, one of the managing lawyers at Greenberg Torrey. My sister is also a lawyer, an immigration attorney. They instilled in us discipline. They instilled in us academics, sports, and giving back. I'm still involved in the same charity called La Liga contra el Cancer, which is a very important charity in my life that I raise money for through my gala and through a wine auction that I do every year. And I volunteer, where my dad has been a physician, a volunteer physician for the last 40 years. This is where we treat people who have cancer, who don't have the resources to pay for their own treatment. And this is the oldest and probably the most prestigious Hispanic charity here in South Florida. You should look it up, La Liga contra el Cancer. You should go and volunteer there. Once a month, volunteer. 3 hours. It'll give you a new outlook on life when you see a lot of these immigrants who come here with nothing. They don't have the resources to treat themselves for the cancer, and they're facing an uphill battle, and the Liga treats them for free. They ask for nothing. It's pretty impressive, and they all do it with funds that are donated through people like myself and many other people in this community who are rigorously devoted to the Liga. So I am who I am today because my parents laid the groundwork and did all the groundwork. And they told me, you're gonna be a successful, contributing member of society. You're never gonna look down on yourself and say, hey, I have a learning disability. I can't be successful. Or my plan to be, the next Alex Rodriguez didn't work out. You gotta be able to pivot on a dime and be able to move onto the next item on your agenda. And my father, my mother are examples of that. Let me give you an example. My grandfather is Spanish. He's from Spain. And he was thrown out of Spain during Franco. You should look up Franco. Franco was a dictator in Spain. Then he went to Cuba and was thrown out of Cuba because of Fidel Castro. This guy's an accountant. Came to Miami and became an accountant here in Miami. What does that tell you? It's a person that will not accept no for an answer. That's a person that's going to push his family forward. Those are a lot of the morals and the objectives and the principles that really embody who my family, what we stand for. Work hard, put your head down, stay within the lines. It's all about family, and give back. Give back, and one day, I promise you, you'll reach the pinnacle of success, whatever that success may be.
Amazing. So I have a few more questions here, but I also want to give the audience an opportunity to go ahead and raise their hand and have some questions answered. So does anyone have any questions that come to mind at this moment?
Yes, sir. With a tie, with a nice blue tie, with a polo shirt.
Hi, I'm Raphael Waldman. I'm a freshman here. I was wondering, you talked a little bit about your struggles becoming successful in your learning disability, and how that sometimes, people sometimes view you differently because of it. And I think in society in general, when people start to become successful, especially against the odds, a lot of people have bad things to say. People try and ruin your reputation. So have you ever dealt with bad press? And if so,
so that's
I'm an international student.
Listen, that is an amazing question. I'm so happy if you were going to think that I teed you up for that one. First, I've never met you. Let me give you a little background on who I am. So I run multiple different businesses. One of the businesses that I run is an engineering business. I have 2 partners. We have over 70 employees in that business. It's CM, it's construction management and design. And we build throughout the state of Florida. We build everything from schools to hospitals to multifamily. We do a lot of large projects throughout the state. I also have a factoring business which does factoring for medical receivables. We buy debt from physicians and then we hold that debt through a letter of protection, LOP, and then we monetize that over a year to a year and a half. It's basically like a bank, like we hold a note. I also own restaurants. I also have a real estate portfolio. I do a lot of investments in healthcare and tech, a bunch of different things. I'm also the mayor. So I've been the mayor for 4 years. I was a commissioner for 8. I'm the youngest mayor ever elected. Okay. I was elected commissioner at 33 years old. Pretty young. I had served on the Planning and Zoning Board. I had served on the Sustainability Advisory Board. I had been engaged and involved in multiple different entities in the city of Coral Gables. When you talk about bad press, what you just stated right now, if you can figure that out now, I promise you, if you can figure out what you just said and really believe and not care what people think about you, you will be successful 15 years before I was. The moment you stop caring, and I mean it in a positive way, obviously you got to care about what your family, your friends, and your significant other tell you. You know, if your friend comes up to you and says, hey, listen, I got to talk to you. You know, I don't think you're doing the right thing. You know, smoking a pack of cigarettes today. You know, going, you know, having 5 drinks, you know, every night before you go to bed. You know, listen, you know, I'm giving you ridiculous examples that obviously we know you shouldn't be doing, but I don't want to delve into anything private. But my point is that when you stop caring about what people think of you in the way of this person's successful, I have people that lie about me every single day. Every single day. They say outlandish, ridiculous things. They make statements, they send it out all over the internet in an effort to tear me down, especially during election season. By the way, April 8th is my election for mayor of the city of Coral Gables for my 3rd term. So right now, I'm being bombarded. Doesn't go one day without some ridiculous statement that I stole money, that I'm corrupt, that it's constant. It is constant. That used to worry me 5, 6, 7 years ago. It's become that my armor is so built up that it doesn't bother me anymore at all. I actually laugh it off. I think it's absolutely insane. It's ridiculous. So how do I combat that? I combat that by being as transparent and as accessible as possible. When I got elected 12 years ago, I thought of the most crazy idea to put myself out there. And this is something for all of you young professionals that I think it's something that you could think about and you could figure something similar like, okay? When I started, I said, what am I gonna do that's gonna set myself apart from every other elected official, right? I'm gonna prove it to you. Do you think that elected officials are corrupt? Just raise your hand if you do. Okay. It's okay. It's not a big deal. It's okay. It's fine. No big deal. It's all good. It's nothing to be sorry about. Okay. What I did the first day in public office was I'm going to do what's called Open Door Fridays. And I'm going to open my office. My staff will be there, but I only have 2 staff members. I'm going to open my office, and I'm going to allow for the community to come and visit me. And no matter what the question is, no matter what the issue is, I'm going to address it. It's not going to go through an email. It's not going to go through a phone call. It's not going to go through staff. I'm going to be the ultimate stop measure. I'm going to treat this like the private sector. Like I treat my business, like I treat my employees and my clients. If I don't take care of my clients are calling me at 12 o'clock, 1 in the morning. You know, Vince, I want to see you at 5 in the morning at a job site. I have to be there. I got to deal with an issue. Again, those are the people that put my daughters in school. I have no choice. So I treat the city the same way as a business. So every Friday I have 30, 40 people that show up. And by the way, nobody shows up to tell me how much of a good job I'm doing. Nobody. That's a lie. Once in a while it happens. But most of the times people are there to complain about one thing or another. And there's a lot to complain about. So don't worry about what people think about you. You do you. You keep pushing. You do what you like. You continue to study. You continue to work. You continue to build relationships. Get out of your safety bubble. Go and meet the gentleman who's to your right. You know, go and meet the young lady who's to the left. Have a conversation. Get out of your confines, which, you know, to me have been the most productive in my effort to expand my network, to get into different businesses. I've met people in forums that have come up to me and had a conversation, and I've ended up doing business with that person in one form or another. But don't worry about what people think about you. You know, it's never going to help you in the way that you think it's going to help you. It's only going to torment you. The moment that you cut yourself from that, it's the moment that you'll be even more successful.
I love that. That was a really good answer, especially that last part. I'm not the mayor or anything, but I like fully agree with that sentence. Like
I'll give you another saying that my grandfather used to always tell you in English. Okay, I'm gonna translate it. Miami's like a bunch of crabs in a bowl. Think about a bucket. You know, you have a bucket, and you have, like, let's say you have 30 crabs in a bucket, and as the crabs stack on top of each other and they're reaching to get out, you have another crab that grabs that crab and brings it down. Think about that. That's what Miami is. It's a beautiful place. It's an amazing place. But people get paid to tear people down in this community on social media. Like, I don't know if you guys listen to Billy Corbin. That guy gets paid to hit me. Literally gets paid to hit me. So by special interest groups that I oppose. For example, I wrote legislation opposing hourly motels in the state of Florida, in the city of Coral Gables. I was the first one to do that because I witnessed human trafficking. I went to 15 undercover stings in the middle of the night, and those motels, they pay people to come and hit me. The fire union for Miami-Dade County hits me because they oppose that I'm in favor of annexation. So they hire people like Billy Corbin to go out and spread horrific lies about me. But by the way, they'll never say it to your face. And that tells you a lot about a person. You know, they do it on social media. And then, like, what I do is I always put them to a test. I've done it multiple times. I did it the other day in a podcast for a day in Miami. I said, let's do this. I'll put $10,000 on my own money. You put $10,000. And let's have a CrossFit workout for charity. Let's do it. Whoever wins, all the money goes to that charity. Whoever loses, you still got to pay. So the other day, I'm still giving $10,000, he's still giving $10,000. I never got a response. Because they'd rather prefer to talk bad about you over the internet. Because it helps their ego. You understand? So always think about the crab that's pulling somebody down. Get away from the bucket. You do you. Keep pushing.
I was going to go ahead and ask for another question. Is that a question, the raised hand?
I have a question.
Yes.
Okay, my name is Gomez. I already know you, Mr. Mayor, but I do have a very specific question. I know that a lot of misinformation gets spread about you and people in government. I think that leads a lot of people to have bad perception about those that are in office and those that are in government. And I want to know, one, why you think that is, aside from the fact that we have so many people spreading misinformation. And two, how can we get more young people to really understand what happens behind the scenes? I feel like I only know about these things because I have family that got into government. And therefore I know what a commission meeting is. I know how to ask for speaking to the mayor. I know about your office hours, right? How can we get more young people to know these things and get involved?
Really quickly, just for the people who couldn't hear it, she's asking, why is there so many people that slander people's good names, such as Vince Lago? And also, how do you prevent that from, happening? How do you get properly informed? I believe that was the question.
So first off, everybody should open up your cell phone so you have a chance. You want to get informed? Open up your cell phone. Go to Google. Everybody should open up. You want to learn what's happening in your city, you go to open up your phone, go to Google, go to whatever search engine you use. Put in AESOPs, AESOPS, Gables, Substack. You're going to be prompted. AESOPs, Gables, Substack. You're going to be prompted. It's like AESOPs Fables, but AESOPs, Gables, Substack. You're going to be prompted to put your email. Put your email there. And then hit subscribe, and then hit skip. That is the premier blog in the city of Coral Gables that gives you the truth of what's happening in our city. You need to know what's happening in your city. Even though you think you may be only here temporary because you're from Chicago, you're from New York, you're from Tennessee, Washington, wherever you're from, you should know you're living in the city. You should know what's happening. You should be motivated to take action on what's happening in your city. Tell me when everybody's done. You're done? You subscribed? All right. Now go to Instagram. Trust me, I don't need the followers. But I'm telling you, you want to know what's happening? I put this up on social media today. I told people to come today to this. Because I want young people to get involved. When you go to social media, go to Mayor Vince Lago. Follow me. Get involved. Ask me a question. Come to open office hours. I can lead a horse to water, but I cannot force you to drink. So I took time out of my day after walking door to door for 2 hours after I finished my long day of work to be here because I believe, and that's why I've done mentorship for the last 10 years, that it's incumbent on people my age to sit down and talk to people like you in a very candid way and share my story and not be afraid or ashamed of the mistakes that I've made. And to share a story about success that's taken many different roads, but at the end of the day leads to being successful in one form or another. You know, when I was young, I went to a preschool called Yolanda Garden School. Okay, I was 2 years old, and I met this young man. It ended up being 5 of us. It was 5 young men that we met there at that preschool. But I ended up meeting one person in particular who ended up becoming my best friend for the rest of my life. You know who that man is? The man is the mayor of Miami, Francis Suarez. That is one of the most respected, honest people, Catholic, faith-based person, and they tear that guy into shreds. Why? Because envy is at the root of all evil. Remember that. Envy. Never envy anybody else. Go and ask that gentleman from New York, how is he successful? How did he start a business? Hey, let's learn. Write him an email. Go to New York, look him up. Take him out to a coffee. Spend time with somebody. Learn. But we get caught in this trap where we see somebody else as more successful one from another, and envy takes hold. Francis is my best friend since I was 2 years old, and what I've seen, the media, what I've seen when he ran for president, what I've seen them put him through, they brutalized him. But that's who we are. We're no longer about the story, we're about the clickbait. So get away from that. Build your story, connect yourself, get involved. I can't force you to get involved. All I can give you is the channel and the lane to come with me. Look, he's done it. The gentleman in the back, who's a sophomore at Gulliver, has been coming to walk door to door over the last 2 weeks. He's getting to know people in my network, in my space. He decided to show up today. It takes time. It's incumbent on him to get involved. And that is the opportunity that you have. And if you're dealing with the right people, they'll invest in you. And the interesting thing is that people ask me all the time, why do you do this? Like, why do you spend time? Why do you make it a point to invest time with young men? And I'll tell you, because I get more out of it than you will ever will. You understand? Does that make sense? Like, to see you successful, to me, brings me immense pride. And to know that I had a small hand, not a lot, but a little bit, to me is amazing. And I got that from my father. My father has been mentoring young physicians for 40 plus years. He's 76 years old. He gets calls from different medical schools and he'll mentor. As a matter of fact, one of the young men that's walking with us, he's about to enter medical school. He's been going with my father and working with him, 2 or 3 times a week at night when he goes to the hospitals. My father introduces him as a doctor. He does rounds with him. He gets to meet the patients. Mentorship has an immense amount of reward for the person that's actually doing it. And one day you'll be in that position. And if we give back, if we as a community give back, this community will be elevated to levels that are unheard of. The key is giving back.
Awesome. Our final question for Mayor Vince Lago. I love you, Mom. I'm sorry, but Ethan too had a question prepared. Moms are the best, but we'll do this off. We'll do it in post. Ethan too.
Sorry. Let's go.
So you're a very busy man. First, thanks for being here.
At all, my pleasure.
But being a busy man, you meet a lot of people. And so, very broad, subjective question. Out of all the people you've met, who is the most interesting? Who have you been the most intrigued by, and why?
That's the easiest question ever.
Oh, give it.
It's my dad. because he's brilliant. He's the most selfless human being I ever met in my life. He's a person who is at the pinnacle of his career. He's the best stomach surgeon in the country. He's a man, when you listen to him, he speaks very little, but he's so powerful and he's just brilliant. And he's just, when you look at him, I look at him with awe. You know, he's a person who has accomplished so much, has given back so much. He does it effortlessly. I try to emulate him as much as I possibly can, but it's just basically impossible. He's effortless in everything that he does. When I meet people in the city, they're like, listen, I knock on somebody's door. I was knocking on somebody's door right now. And I knock on their door and they said, you're Mayor Lago? I say, yes, I'm Mayor Lago. It's a pleasure to meet you. Thank you for allowing me the privilege to serve you. And the person says, listen, I don't even know you. I have no idea whether you've done a good or bad job. I hear good things. I hear bad things. But your dad's been my doctor for 30 plus years. If you're Dr. Lago's son, you gotta be good. You gotta be good. So that to me is an instant sign that it's so impossible to be like him, but I strive every single day to be the man that he is. So he is the person who, when you look at it all, intellect, just his persona, the way that he conducts himself as a husband, as a father, the way that he takes his shirt off his back and gives it to the next person. To me, that is what embodies a successful individual, a person who is selfless. By the way, success, whether you consider it monetary success, will come if you work hard in whatever discipline you're in. Doesn't matter at all. But you have to do it on your terms. Remember what I told you? Your terms, not somebody else's terms. You can never compromise your values. Nobody thought that I could do open office hours for 12 years. I said, I'm going to do it. I didn't think I was going to be here for 12 years. So I already started. After 4 years, I got to keep doing this because people expected it every single week. But my dad has been doing it for 40 years. He has patience. He never says no. I'm sitting with him at a confirmation from my daughter this week. The phone's ringing, and it's everybody has his phone number. He visits patients at home. He loves what he does. He's proud of his profession. So the baddest person I ever met in my life, and I met a lot of people that are impressive, okay? Like impressive heads of state, athletes, financial geniuses, captains of industry. I've interviewed with Apple. I've interviewed with Ryder. I've interviewed with FIFA. These are companies that we brought to the city of Coral Gables. I sat in front of their boards. I convinced them to come to the City Beautiful, to invest in the City Beautiful, to bring thousands of employees. But no one even comes close to my father. Nobody.
That's a great, great answer. Actually, so I had a colleague, if he's not comfortable asking the question, I will ask it for him. And this will be our real last question. But my best friend, Matt Vinsco, had posed a question over the phone. Matt, would you like to reiterate your question, or would you like me to do it?
Come on, Matt, ask the question.
You insist. So, Mayor Lago, I didn't grow up in Florida, but this city has been absolutely beautiful when I walk up and down the streets of it. And the number one thing from your speech today, or just getting to hear you speak, has been vision and just being able to see the city of Coral Gables grow, being able to see your life grow, being able to help other people. How do you find it so easy to be able to communicate that vision with other people to be able to align on a goal? Or maybe what did you have to do to build that confidence up with yourself and being able to help other people? Because where I see the city going, it's absolutely beautiful with just how much growth you can have in the city. And I'm really excited to be back here in 5 to 10 years. Andres knows I'm leaving in a couple months, but I'm coming back.
Yeah.
I know that.
In essence, from what I understand, the question that we discussed, and we, had discussed, and what he just said, what do you see the future being for Coral Gables? What is the vision you have lined up?
Well, listen, if I'm blessed to be elected in 2 weeks as the mayor, I hope I have a commission that will work with me. It's been a little bit topsy-turvy over the last 2 years as a result of certain people that got elected. But I think that I think a lot of people, and I've heard from people as I walk door to door, they have a lot of buyer's remorse. So My vision is simple. My vision is to put the residents first and to strike a balance in between the business community, which is critically important because it basically subsidizes our tax base by over 40%. So people say, I don't want development, but you need a thriving downtown. And then protecting the residential neighborhoods, which again, are where all the voters are, all the residents. We need to protect, ensure that we invest in traffic calming and police and fire. We also need to also be cognizant of the fact of the important role that University of Miami plays in what is Coral Gables. George Merrick's vision. George Merrick had a vision, and the vision is very simple. Whether you like George Merrick or not, he was a legend who had a vision to make the first planned community in the state of Florida. And he delivered on that vision. 198 entrances, beautiful tree-lined streets, historic buildings. There's a theme. There's a Mediterranean theme here in the city. We can't deviate from that. We can evolve, but we can never forget who we are and where we came from. It's made us successful. And Coral Gables is evolving because you're seeing the demographics here evolve. The youngest ever elected mayor in the city of Coral Gables. That speaks volumes about the voters. You have communities that are growing, large Hispanic, Black. You have a lot of Indian individuals moving into the community. You have Hispanics from all over South and Central America coming here in one form or another. It's aspirational for people wanting to live in the city of Coral Gables, like the vision. The vision is when I knock door to door, the door opens and it's like, wow, you never expected that person to live here, and you hear their story. My dream has to be living in the city of Coral Gables. I mean, that's amazing. Think about that. What have they done? They have sacrificed themselves to save enough money. They could have moved anywhere for a fraction of the cost, but they wanted to move here. Maybe they couldn't afford their dream house, but they got half the dream house that they wanted, and they slammed into that house, and they're living here in the city of Coral Gables. It speaks volumes not only about what we're doing here in the city of Coral Gables, but about upholding and protecting our brand. So my vision is simple. Continue to lower crime. I have opened over 15 parks in the downtown that I've been able to acquire over the last 12 years. Continue to, ensure that our city is sustainable. By the way, I'm gonna blow your brains out right now. I know you guys can't believe this. I'm a Republican whose house runs 100% on solar for the last 8 years. I drive an electric car, my second one. I'm the first elected official to fly the LGBTQ flag in the city of Coral Gables. I believe in equality. I believe in human rights. I'm also, when I started, it was $15 million in the bank. I wrote a law that requires for our budget, 25% of our budget to be put away into restricted reserves. We have $60 million in cash. When I started, our pensions were funded to the tune of 51%. Second worst, let me clear that, second worst in the state of Florida. Now we're at over 80%. I give a 13 check. Does everybody here know what a 13 check is? You pay your mortgage off in 12 months, correct? If you pay a 13 check, you pay your mortgage off in 17 years. So I started paying a 13 check 12 years ago for $500,000. And every year I will go up incrementally. 1 million, 2 million, 3 million. This year I gave a check of $9.5 million. Additional money that I don't have to put in to pay down. So that means when I'm done as mayor, somebody like maybe this gentleman here who walks in will enjoy the fruits of my belt tightening because he won't have to pay that money anymore and I have to pay all these debts down. So my vision is, it doesn't matter whether you're a Republican, you're a Democrat, you're independent, you got to put the city first. And what makes a city special? Protecting the trees, protecting the parks, bringing crime down, paying down your debts, lowering taxes. I tried to lower taxes the last 2 years, but my opponents in the commission didn't allow me to. We have the second lowest millage rate for a full service city in Miami-Dade County. So that means we have the second lowest tax rate to make you understand a little bit better in Miami-Dade County out of 34 municipalities. So I want to make it affordable for young people to live in the North Gables. That was the plan, and that continues to be the plan. We want you to get educated, and I don't want you to leave. You understand that, right? Like, I want you to get educated, and then I want you to work at FIFA, at Apple, at one of the venture capital companies. We have private equity firms that are joining here, the city, all over the place. The problems that we're having are good problems. We're running out of space in the downtown. So the point is to have educated individuals now move back to India. And that's what I saw when I graduated my master's in engineering. You know, our class was predominantly individuals, I say children, I'm a lot older, but young men and women from India, from Asia. So we had some individuals from Africa, South and Central America, from all over the world. When they received their education, they bolted back to their countries. We want to keep these people here. I mean, you're getting an education. This is America, right? We want to keep these individuals here. We don't want them to leave. We want them to be the next bridge builders, the next contractors, the next engineers. So the vision is one of trying to keep as many people here as possible, trying to make our city as inclusive as possible, but never losing sight on what George Merrick planned for the city beautiful.
Amazing, amazing. Can everyone give a round of applause for Merrick?
Thank you.
Would you mind switching? Now, I don't have a dog in this race at all, you know, as a nonprofit runner. However, if you are interested, I do have a dog in this race. I'm just going to go ahead and say that. It's nonprofit pending. If you are interested, I'll move out of the way. If you want to move out of the way, this QR code. This website will take you to votevincelago.com. These chairs are a little bit inopportune. You know what? You guys are very smart people. If you also want, you can search up votevincelago.com. I can imagine you guys know how to spell if you're in University of Miami, or at least in the area. But Mayor Vince Lago, seriously, thank you so much for your time. Yes.
Can I just say one thing on this? So really quick, again, I didn't plan this. Thank you for this, by the way. It's very nice.
Of course.
I don't know if you guys can even vote here or not, depending on if you're local. But if you can, we have an election April 8th. It'd be great to have you come out and support. I want you to check this out at the end of the day, because it's important. And I'll tell you why it's important. Because you don't realize it, but if you don't vote, people are making decisions for you. Okay? People are making decisions for you. So what I did was, you know, when most people run for public office, they put up these beautiful websites that has like their beautiful wife, right? And their beautiful children. A lot of us are photoshopped. You know, I'm not. But I mean, at the end of the day, a lot of us are photoshopped. And the website says, vote for me because I'm the best. Or vote for me because I promise. Or I promise, I promise, I promise, I promise, I promise. Go to this website. Look it up. There's a tab called the facts. So there it's the good, the bad, and the ugly. Even the ugly things they say about me, I tackle them on this website. I'm not afraid of what anybody says about me. I'm proud of what I've accomplished. Every piece of legislation I've written in 12 years is here. Everything that I've done in the city is here. This is a repository to find out who Vince Lago is as your mayor. I answer to you. So at the end of the day, when you come here, you can learn a little bit about what's happening in your city, like I told you on Aesop's Gables. And you can figure out how you can make a difference in the city. Because at the end of the day, we need you. We need young minds. We need different perspectives. And I'll leave you with one example. You said, well, what is it that I could do that will bring a different perspective and a different kind of vision to what the mayor. The mayor has everything on their lock and key. He knows everything he's doing, far from it. So on the Open Door Fridays, I had one gentleman visit me, probably in his late 20s. He came to see me and he said, I have a great idea. I said, what's your idea? He said, I want to do permitting at home, and we'll go to your house and we'll do permitting at your home for minor things like a roof repair, changing of windows, right? A kitchen, a new kitchen, floors, anything from an addition down. And it can be done for the elderly, anybody over, let's say, 65, 70 years old, retirees, anybody who's disabled, anybody who's a war veteran, let's say a single mother, single father. And we built that program. They go to your house in an electric car and they handle your permit in your kitchen counter. You know how many of those we do a year now? We've been doing it for 7 years. We do over 350 of those a year for our residents. That is a service that we offer our residents so we can help them at home. And it takes the pressure off of our building department. And that was implemented by an exceptionally talented individual by the name of Surami Cabrera, who I hold probably she's one of the most respected engineers here, not only in South Florida, but in the country, and Peter Iglesias also. So the idea of listening and opening a channel where people can come and sit down with you. We fail to listen. We fail to listen, and Open Door Fridays keeps me honest with people like you and forces me to listen to what you have to say at the end of the day. So always listen. Understand, you don't know, you don't have all the answers. You don't. You can continue to learn every single day. So I want to thank you for allowing me the privilege to be here. It's been an honor. I have Open Door Fridays. I'm going to give you my cell phone. You can call me. This is my personal cell phone. Please don't call me after 12. My number is 305 305 303 303 0115. Okay? Reach out to me. If you want to get together, have a cup of coffee, we'll have a conversation. I'm here to listen. I'm here to help you and to be in your corner as you move forward. I hope to one day say, listen, I met that person. I was able to play some sort of role in their success. God bless. Thank you.
Amazing.
By the way, let's give a round of applause to our host today. Come on, please. Doing big things, and he's a gentleman who I have a lot of respect for, and like I told him, aspire to be something exceptional. Leave your legacy, leave your mark, and I think he's going to leave a big legacy. So thank you, and a big mark. Thank you.
Yeah, if you could just keep that quick. So while Mayor Vince Lago gives Vivek the microphone, our next speaker, would you mind switching the page? Sponsor time, baby. You know you love sponsors, putting butts in seats. Okay. A huge thank you, first off, to 161 Ventures. Can Pablo and Justice please take a stand? Please, both of you. Everyone, round of applause for Pablo and Justice. Not only are these guys the future of venture capital, but they are like big brothers to me. They've been so supportive. They've been incredible, and they're incredibly supportive of LTI. Do you guys want to say something really quick, 20, 30 seconds about 161?
Sure.
Yeah, go.
Should I get up there? Or
Just take the mic. Why not? Nothing scandalous, please.
I'll try my best, but no guarantees. So Justin and I actually met at the University of Florida when we were in our third year, and we were trying to build our first companies. I see we have a gator somewhere in the audience. We were trying to build our first companies, but nobody was teaching people how to build startups or how to raise money. And so we started hosting events and trying to build communities, hosting roundtables and workshops. That later turned into an accelerator when the pandemic happened. We had a program over Zoom. We helped 40 companies raise over $13 million in the 2-year period. And then we're looking at each other thinking, well, how do we get equity in these companies? Because we were doing this as a passion project just for fun. And today we have a venture capital fund. We're managing over $4 million. We've made over 20 investments. And so yeah, for all of you guys that are currently students, literally just follow your curiosity, follow your passion, because you never know what road it's going to lead you down, and you never know what it could turn out to be. For us, this was just like a passion project, and we were just having fun. And now we're literally traveling all over the country, hosting events, and bringing in speakers like the founders and CEOs of publicly traded companies and multi-billion-dollar startups. So yeah, super excited to be here with all of you guys. Thank you so much to Andres for putting this together, and thank you everybody for coming out.
Amazing. One more thing that I want to mention about these lovely gentlemen. Does anyone know a guy by the name of Jake Paul, by any chance? Has anyone heard of him? Okay. Well, this guy has a sports gaming app / service known as Better. And they are going really big. They've signed amazing athletes. Better signed amazing athletes. People maybe you know a few ones. I thought Olivia Doon was on there. I know a lot of basketball players on there. I know fighters like Sugar Sean O'Malley's on there. So I'm a huge UFC fan. And we are actually getting an opportunity to go to their warehouse this coming Wednesday. I will be there, but they're looking for volunteers for 20 to 30 minutes before the event and 20 to 30 minutes after the event. This is an opportunity for you guys. Yes, you will be doing a little bit of helping out with administration and closing down, but at the same time, you will be able to enjoy the full networking event, go around meeting a bunch of venture capitalists. So this is great, especially for startups, or if you're just young and want to meet people. So find the guys in the good-looking t-shirts, the two good-looking guys in the good-looking t-shirts. At the end of this, if you want that opportunity, I really recommend it. Just like you don't know who you're gonna meet here, you don't know where you're gonna meet there. So a lot of really, really sharp VCs that I've met there. Yeah, I can't speak highly enough about this too.
VCs, founders, and Wagyu steak, so.
Ooh.
And the first 4 or 5 that commit.
Oh yeah, amazing, amazing. Yeah, round of applause for these guys one more time. And then, second one, I would like to thank the Bill Cosford Cinema. They're incredibly kind. Yes, one more round of applause, huge. Now, I don't know what you guys know about Miami real estate. It's not very cheap. And the Bill Cosford Cinema was incredibly generous with how much they've helped us today. People don't know about this venue. It's kind of tucked away. It's so beautiful, but there's screenings of movies early. There's re-screenings of really popular movies like Deadpool Wolverine was here. So please go online when you have the chance. If you're a UM student, I believe admission is incredibly discounted or free. Is it free? I got thumbs up. It's free, guys. So just come on through, spend some time, get some popcorn, bring a date. If they dump you, go to another movie. There's always someone else. And speaking of somebody else, the next person, that is my segue for this. If we could go ahead and switch to the, if we go to the next slide, please, real quick. Okay. Actually, we're gonna just go back. We're gonna keep it on the sponsor page. That's kind of a spoiler. I would like to introduce the one and only Vivek Pandit. Please come on in. So this guy is, not only does he have incredibly good taste when it comes to suit jackets, but this is my specialty. He is a founder, co-founder, COO, entrepreneur, angel investor, recognized by Forbes 30 Under 30 in 2023. He is also one of the most fun, amazing people you'll ever meet. So everyone, round of applause for Vivek. So Vivek, let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to ask the same question to start off. What is Vivek Pandit's origin story?
Appreciate it. Also, I'm so excited to be here. I love talking to students. I was just telling him I went to Brown, and we could have never convinced people to dress up like this. So y'all look great. It was awesome. Okay, origin story.
Yes.
So, grew up in Dallas, playing football. I think at the time it was the most conservative county of Texas. And so grew up playing football. No one had ever seen an Indian, Hindu, vegetarian try to play football. And then after that, I went to Brown. And that was a crazy, like life switch up. Growing up, I was like, it was all about integrity, being a good family man, discipline, make money, things like that. And then I went to Brown, it was like social justice, community, like giving back. And I was like, do I want to make money or do I want to give back to my community? Those were like two different things. You couldn't do both. They were like mutually exclusive. But then I couldn't find a job. I couldn't find an internship. And so I went to Detroit. My mom was like, why the hell are you going to Detroit? Like, I sent you to an Ivy League, you're going to Detroit. So I went to Detroit and I met Dan Gilbert. He's the owner of the Cavs, Rocket Mortgage, StockX. The mayor was talking about how important mentorship was. He was my first mentor. And what he was doing was using the private sector to revitalize the city of Detroit. And he was proving how powerful public-private partnerships are. So that's when I discovered what I really love, which is social impact entrepreneurship. Like, how can you become a millionaire by doing the right thing? And so I discovered that was possible. And so that's kind of how I started to become a startup founder. And after I graduated 2020, so it was like COVID year, could not find a job again. So then I started a company to help people find a job. So there's a story. Yeah.
Amazing. Before we dive a little bit deeper into what your company does exactly, I'm curious, so I've asked this question a little bit earlier even, but this is my favorite question. Other than being a hard worker, because every single person and at the top of every single thing has to work really hard. But other than being a hard worker, what do you think is the personality trait characteristic about Vivek that has allowed him to be as successful as he is today?
There's like few things you can really control, but you can control how you treat people and like your respect for people and like having a good attitude. And you'd be shocked how many people will come back and help you. Like, I'm not like this successful entrepreneur without so many people in my life. And oftentimes, like, they'll come back and help you 5 years later. Like, you have no idea how treating people the right way will really help your success. And I think really listening to people, making sure you're present, and not making life, Mayor talked about, like, you're not the center of the universe. And when other people see that you actually care about them and you're gonna go out of your way to help them, they'll help you out. And like, so many doors have opened up because of other people. It all starts by treating people with respect and having the right attitude. So I think, honestly, I wasn't a great test taker. Like, I'm a tech startup founder. I'm like technologically illiterate. Like, you know, like, so, but it's like, it's just, I think treating people the right way was really powerful.
Amazing. So you got into like the basic. You're a tech startup entrepreneur. Why don't you tell them a little bit more about what specifically your company does, as well as all the other things that you put your hands into?
Yeah, sure. So everyone knows what like influencer marketing is, right? The idea? Cool. So we brought influencer marketing to the talent acquisition world. So recruiting. So companies were using influencers to promote products, but they had never used influencers to promote jobs. So, you go to like ZipRecruiter, you got to network, you got to go to like LinkedIn, you got to go to Handshake. But we're putting jobs on like TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, things like that. So what was interesting was no one from like a Gen Z social media background with like startup founder experience ventured their way into HR. So that was like a very unique intersection of like worlds that allowed us to even discover this idea. So that's what we do now. So the other thing is like content creators, the top 1% make a lot of money. Then it's a drop off. So there's not really a middle class for content creators. What we're doing is taking the recruiting budget, which is, by the way, corporate America's most expensive problem is recruiting, and redirecting it and injecting it into the creator economy. So you could think of like creators becoming the new headhunters and like social media being how you scale word of mouth. So we'll get a job from working with some of the top CPG brands. God bless L'Oreal. We had a terrible, terrible startup journey for years, and L'Oreal took a gamble on us. And after that, a lot of doors opened up. But we'll take jobs from CPG brands right now, expanding. They'll give it to us. We'll match it to an influencer. So like, let's say they're targeting men, women, certain background, Hispanics, Black. And then we'll match it to an influencer with the right demographic. They'll make a video, just like you're scrolling on TikTok, Instagram. But instead of, hey, buy this product, it's, hey, L'Oreal is having this internship. You should apply. Link in bio. And then you go right there and apply. So that's what we're doing. Bringing those two worlds together and hopefully helping creators, make more money.
I love that. So you are a man of community. I've seen it. One of the ones that we all know best is Forbes 30, obviously. But in order to get to that realm, you've been a part of many communities. In those communities, you see a lot of founders that have made it and a lot of founders that have not. What do you think is the biggest differentiating factor between those founders that are really strong out the gate and then fall flat and those that are able to make it and become successful?
So that's a great question. Someone told me this 3-4 years ago. So the two biggest reasons why startups fail, number one is they don't know how to manage money and they'll screw up the cap table and they'll blow their money, which we did, by the way. It was terrible. And the second thing is you give up too early, because the startup world, like, the world's going to feel like it's crashing so many times. And you have to be delusional enough to believe that everyone else is wrong. But you can't be arrogant. So there's like a fine line between delusion and arrogance. And what we like to say in our team is like, you have to deserve to be delusional. Like, what does that mean? It means you're not trying to prove everybody that you're right, they're wrong, but you've done the work to believe that you see a truth that other people aren't seeing. And again, Mayor talked about vision. And so I think going through the exercise of always like trying to see like, the hardest thing, man, as a startup founder is like when to listen to advice. Because you'll have like very smart people that you look up to that will tell you something, but you're like, do I trust myself or do I trust them? And so like that's a really interesting game to play. But I think having that delusion, but like not from a place of arrogance, not giving up too early, and celebrating the wins. So I went through a terrible breakup in I think like 2020. I was literally, oh my God, let's put her on blast right now. So I was dating this girl for 3 years, my first love, everything. And then we broke up. 2 months later, she was engaged. I know, it was crazy. So I was like, damn, dude. So I was in my closet crying. And then I called my friend and I was like, so I didn't even really know I wanted to be a startup founder at this point. But I was like, I'm gonna make the Forbes 30 under 30 list. Like I don't know how, I don't know what, but like that's my new goal, right? And went through the journey, made the list. After I made the list, I celebrated for like 24 hours. That was it. Moved on. And the thing is, like when you get like super ambitious and you're like chasing this big vision, you forget to celebrate the wins. And you need to go back and be like, wow, we've made a lot of progress this past year, right? Sometimes you just see the reality that you're in at that moment, but when you look back, you celebrate the wins and you see how much you really did in a year. I think that was very, very important. Was just always remember that like it's a blessing to wake up. You know, like you got to celebrate life a little bit more and like not take everything so seriously. But yeah, I think that was a really important verse.
So, yeah, that was a great answer. Sorry about the breakup.
No, it's all good.
We'll find you someone
I made the
Miami.
list now, so it's all good.
We'll find you
She
someone
missed
Miami.
out.
He's single. He's single. Yeah. If anyone wants to help you, come back. He's back in 2 weeks. I'm just saying. Anyway, we're moving on. Okay, so I've seen you out in the wild, and I think the first.
Now you can put me on blast.
Crazy compliment that's about to come your way. I've seen you out in the wild in terms of I met this man at a Gen Z conference where it was in New York. I went out. I didn't know anyone, and I had the opportunity to network with crazy people, influencers, heads of like Spotify, Cosmopolitan, all these crazy people. And I'd have like 45-minute conversations with them, and they were like following up with them was insane. Like they were just like, no, busy. Vivek and I talked for 30 seconds in passing, and then I forgot to follow up. 5 months later, found his email, or like 4
Yeah, how'd you even do that? I was like, how did you get on my calendar?
People know I keep a list of people I meet. I found it, put time on the calendar, like very sneakily. And he was like, oh, I remember you, bro, what's up? And then he's like, I'm coming to Miami, let's hang out. Like, open, like you were like a brother to me. And my point in saying is like, what about you do you think makes you so approachable to everyone? Like, why does everyone, myself included, people out at ZCon, people that you've met at Summit, people at all these other places, why do they feel so, why do they feel the need to revolve around you, to, be attracted to you, to want to work with you?
Well, I really appreciate that. And felt the same way about you. That's, you're my brother too. I think, so I can't remember how old I was. I was like a teenager, and my dad was like, go meet this person. I was like, why? He was like, there's no reason. Just go say hi. And after that, I was like, whoa. Like you were talking about, you never know who you're going to meet or what's going to come out of it. That became like a value of mine, was just talk to people. Because if you look at it, like at the end of the day, everything you know comes from people. Like all stories, all movies, all books, all literature, everything. People are like walking storybooks. And like, I know it's a cliche, but like we're walking miracles. Like it's really cool when you sit down and get to know a human being. That's where a lot of like gems of wisdom come from. And so after that, I just like fell in love with just meeting people. And I think realizing and appreciating, God bless my parents, I have the best parents ever, but like they really showed me the power of how much people can do in return for you. Like again, I'm really not that smart. I just had the best people around me that always gave back to me, and it gives you that like service mentality the mayor's talking about, like being selfless. And I think when you're talking to me, like I'm gonna listen. Like my head is like not somewhere else. Like being present is very difficult. You have to train yourself. But when you look at someone in the eyes and you're listening, like there's a real connection. Like it's like a drug, dude. Like I've had like some crazy one-on-one people all the time. Like, oh my God, like I didn't mean to overshare. Like I like so blah blah blah. And I'm like, no, it's good. Like we're just being humans, So I think just giving people the respect and appreciation they deserve. Like I guess it comes across as approachable.
I love it. So this is gonna be my last question for now, and then I'm gonna open it up to you guys. I know we're all excited to ask some questions to Vivek. My last question for you is, what is your general advice to, there are some people that aren't university students, but I guess to all the university students in the crowd that are, wanting to perchance chase entrepreneurship or something in leadership, not necessarily business. What is your advice to them as they exit and as they graduate?
There's a difference between passion and purpose. And I think this whole like monetize your passion is kind of overrated. I think you should discover what your passions are and learn how to like monetize it and make sure you're happy in life. But discovering your purpose, like there's a reason it's discover, like it's already there. And there are little hints in life of how it comes out, but it takes time. Like you don't, like I took the journey of being a startup founder immediately after college, and I have no regrets, but like probably would have been smart to save a little bit more money first. Like, you know, like, so I think trying to do the inner work of like, what is my purpose, and making the distinction between passion and purpose, and then learning how to cultivate that into a business, whatever that means. You don't have to be a tech startup founder. Just, I mean, it's almost like monetizing your being. I think that's really important, and I think you know, everyone talks about like self-work as like a therapeutic or this or that, but one of my mentors told me, she was like, stop trying to figure out life, like unlock the player. Like, who are you? You write the rules when you figure out who you are. And actually, I'm gonna segue this into the quarter life crisis thing. So I went through a quarter life crisis. I like coined this phrase, and trademark pending, actually. That would be super cool if we got that. Yeah. But yeah, so like everyone, you know, you guys probably know, like the loneliness pandemic and comparisons and social media and like feeling like you can't get a job, the job market stuff, going through a quarter life crisis. And so one of the most powerful things that my mentor had told me, he said, life is like a machine, and like any machine, there's a design. When you understand the design, you become immensely powerful. And so I took that and got obsessed with like, what does that mean? What is the machine of life, and how am I connected to that? And like who am I, and how can I operate in this world? And figuring out how to reclaim a lot of that power and agency and like create my own life was super powerful. And so I just like, you don't have to be public about it. You don't have to think of it as like therapy or whatever you want, or like mental health. Like all those words are great, but like there's a connotation with it. Just at the end of the day, like you are the creator of your life, and you need to discover what that purpose is and figure out how to like live life to the fullest and make money doing it, you know? Yeah.
I love it. I love it. All right. Does anyone have any questions here?
You pick.
Okay. I'm going to start off with Ray, please.
Question is, we have a lot of young people in this room, a lot of aspiring entrepreneurs. And can you share what you do to keep your tank full while you're dealing with being an entrepreneur, so that you can continue the journey and see it through the end?
That's a great question, because burnout's real. And when you burn out, you have a bad attitude. Like you don't treat people right, you know? And so like that's really important. So what I've done is I've realized there's 2 or 3 things where I find like my flow state, my happiness. Like no matter what's going on, if I do these 1, 2, 3 things, I kind of find it back. So I would identify those. Where do you, regardless of what's going on in the world, just forget about all your problems? For me, it's dancing. I love dancing. Like if we go out, oh my God, let's dance tonight. We're gonna dance tonight.
Hey, let's come on. All right, let's calm down.
You know what I meant? Don't make it weird, bro.
Okay,
and then the other thing is working out. So like going and blowing off steam at the gym or running or something like that. And the third is actually like meaningful conversations with people. So identify where it is that you can let go of like thinking about your problems all the time. Where do you get your energy back? I call it the flow state. And then lean on those. Remember those. Every time like the world's crashing down, I literally go to the gym, I dance in my room, and I'll have an awesome conversation with a friend. I feel way better. So yeah, that's my advice.
Great, I love it. Luca, I saw you. Please go ahead and ask the next question.
So you said you were like someone to start a tech company but didn't have much tech experience.
Yeah.
I'm kind of going to be in a similar boat as you, and I was wondering, when you were going to MVP, like an MVP building process, what were some of the struggles you faced and how did you overcome them?
One more time, you said when I'm building the MVP process?
Yeah, building a minimal viable product.
Yeah.
Yeah, MVP for your product. And what were some of the obstacles you faced and how did you overcome them?
Yeah, so the first thing, that's a really good question. So the first thing is, honestly, Elon Musk talks about this a lot, but MVPs should actually use the least amount of tech possible. Like, it is a blessing to do things manually, or else you automate the wrong things. And you spend a lot of money, a lot of effort, and then your developer gets really irritated. And that's a tough conversation. It's like, yo, you just worked like a month on this, hundreds of hours, scrap it, we did the wrong thing. So tech's important, and everyone's talking about AI and like all this stuff, and I get it. Like, you know, you gotta have a technical co-founder, that's not me. But at the end of the day, like, MVPs should be Google Sheets. Like, it should be Excel spreadsheets. It should be like manual emails. Like, that's how you really understand how to automate the right things. Also, when you create an MVP, so many people, like, especially when they fundraise and stuff, they'll have like this crazy product roadmap, which is like cool, but at the end of the day, like you think you know the solution, you have no idea. What you need to identify the problem. The problem is what's really hard to actually identify. It's way harder than a solution. But people will build a solution they think the world wants, but it's not at all what they want or need. And so when you build an MVP and you do everything automated or manual, you'll follow the data. And I mean, pivoting is the name of the game. And so when you follow that, you'll discover how to make the best solution. At that point, you know, you can lean on a tech co-founder or something like that to really automate the process. But manual work is a blessing. And I think so many times I was like, scale. That was a lot of money, time, and effort that was like wasted. Yeah.
Amazing. Next questions? Ms. Zoe Lee.
Hi. I just wanted you to zoom in a little bit more on the time, like, so you said when you graduated college you couldn't find a job. What that period, like after college, like really looks like. I don't know, is it like 2 months that it started? You started working on your business, or just a little more about it?
Okay, so this is a funny story. So I did this fellowship called Venture for America. I don't know if anyone's familiar with it. Entrepreneurship fellowship. So I got hired by these two guys to basically start they had a Google Doc that was like an idea. And they hired me and another fellow, and they were like, create this company for us. Like, we have the money, we have the idea, but we don't have the time. I was like, all right, cool. So got hired. It was a terrible idea. They were terrible bosses. Never checked in on me or whatever, followed up. And like, I mean, I don't even know if I should admit this, but I was like, if they're not even checking in on me and they're paying me, like, I'm gonna do my own thing. So I was taking their money, and I was trying, but it was like such a bad idea. And he was so like locked in tunnel vision. Anyway, so I was taking his money, and I was like trying other things out. And then when we fundraised our first pre-seed round, then, I mean, I called him, I was like, dude, like, I'm out, you know? And then jumped ship and then started the company. So it was like a, I mean, I don't know how helpful that advice is, but like, that's what happened to me. Like, I don't know what you're gonna do with that, but I guess the point is, like, you don't know what you're gonna do immediately afterwards, and take advantage of your situation, you know? So.
Steal. In one word, it's steal.
I mean, I was trying, bro. He wasn't checking in on me. I was like, dude, like, you're incompetent. Like, anyway.
He was asking for it.
Yeah, thank you.
Anyway, okay. Mr. Midas.
I wanted to ask you about what you said earlier about the difference between your purpose and your passion. How did you discover that yourself, and what was the key in your opinion to unlocking that character?
Thank you for the question. I want to think about my answer for a sec. You know, so my dad, it was so funny. It was like 3 years ago. He was like, what are your values? I was like, that's just a stupid question. Like, I know my values, like, you know? And then I realized I actually really didn't. Like, I didn't know what I really stood for. Like, I like do the right thing, like don't cheat, like don't steal, you know, things like that. But at the end of the day, it was like, yeah, what are my values? What grounds me, and what am I trying to like do for the world, right? And I think that whatever that question means to you, what are your values? Identify them. I don't necessarily know the process that you'll have to go through as an individual, or if you even honestly know what the word values really means versus like belief versus like other things. But I think really thinking about that question and doing a lot of work of like, what makes me happy? Where do I find my flow state? What is the impact I want to have in the world? And how does that all come together in something that is like, not even tangible, but like seeable in your head? And then following that, but it's a process. And I really do think that like monetizing your passion and like you need to do what you love and like all this stuff straight out of college is like super overrated because it takes time. Like, and you know, the craziest part is for 20 to 25-ish is like a dangerous time in life because you actually think you know a lot. But you don't, you know? And I look back at, like, I'm 27 now, I look back and I was like, wow, I was an idiot. You know, at the time I was like, oh yeah, I graduated Brown, like I was a published author, TEDx speaker, I was like, I know everything. Then life just smacks you in the face and you're like, damn, like I didn't know anything. And I think you gotta take this time to like really identify, like, first of all, be humble. You can have a super high IQ and like have a lot of accolades, but at the end of the day, you've only spent 20 something years on planet Earth. Like your experience is limited. So it doesn't matter like what you've accomplished, you just don't have life experience. And so if you can recognize that, be humble about it, and like try to grow on it, that's the work you got to do to really identify what your purpose was. And for me, I knew that I wanted to prove to the world that you can do the right thing and be really rich. That was really important to me. Like, I'm going to be a multi-millionaire, and no one's ever going to tell me I did the wrong thing. Like, that was really important to me. The second thing that was important to me was proving that you can use the private sector as a way to solve humans' problems that I think we rely on the government for. So like what Mark Cuban did with drug prices, or what we're trying to do for unemployment. And we've been invited to the White House to talk about like what we're doing with our company and how this is probably going to help unemployment if we can build this thing more than like a lot of the policies they've tried to pass, right? So that was the other thing that was really important to me. And the third thing that was really important to me was language. I fell in love with the power of language because when I was young in high school, I made the joke of like people didn't know, I wasn't even like a minority, I was an alien. Like people had never seen me like this. I told you I was vegetarian. We went to a team dinner, like football team dinner, and I told the waitress, I was like, can I get the nachos with no meat? She goes, okay, so no beef. And I go, and no chicken. She goes, chicken isn't meat, honey. I was like, yo. So it was things like that where I was so like insecure. I didn't even know what my voice sounded like. And then over time, I started to find my voice, and I was like, whoa, this is like everyone needs to find their voice. Like it's really powerful, and conversations will change lives. And I think I started to realize that like whatever I did, I also wanted language to be a core part of it. And so I fell in love with public speaking and like the TED Talk. I did a podcast, things like this. So that was kind of, long-winded answer, but like that was the way I kind of started to discover like how do you put this all together. And it was becoming a tech startup founder, speaking to people and helping people find jobs and then getting rich off of it. So that's how it came together. Yep.
Pretty damn good. All right. Okay, you start.
Yeah, so I have a question. I'm not sure how you went through the VC rounds or what you did to get funded, but can you just talk about the struggles of getting started and looking for funding? And you just mentioned the power of language, so maybe ways you convince people to give you money or...
So if you wanted to have a talk on struggles, we could do that for like 3 hours. Fundraising is so hard. Well, actually it's on the rebound now, but COVID, fundraising was awful. It was so hard. And so I think the first thing is warm intro. Like you got to network. Like that is the name of the game when it comes to like meeting people and like getting in the room and like that type of stuff. The second thing is you have to build a sense of urgency. Like why now? Because what VCs will do, they'll string you along for a long time. They'll tell you I'm interested, I'll have another call, I'll follow up, but they're just playing the game. And I used to think that like all people are nice, like they're all like looking out for you. But VCs will string you along. It's kind of like dating. It's like you want me, like you gotta flip the game. So I think understanding how to create a sense of urgency and FOMO was really important. Understanding how to take back your power was really important, and then language was you got to look at a VC like I have a lot of issues with VCs. I don't even want to like tear them apart right now, but I could. But no, y'all are doing the right things. You gotta remember that like you're the founder, so you know your space. They don't necessarily, right? Like they're like. So a lot of them actually are like industry agnostic. Like they'll invest in all sorts of things as long as they see the vision. But you need to really use concise, powerful language that gets them to see the vision, the sense of urgency, and see the problem. Too many startup founders will fundraise off of I have the best solution. They don't want to hear that. And the reason that we were able to fundraise was because actually we put the words to the problem way better than anybody else. Everyone else is like, there's like AI resumes, there's video first resumes, there's like AI matching and vetting and like things, all this nature. Our thing was like, all of those are symptoms of a deeper problem. And the deeper problem is that career discovery in America is not organic. Like if you wake up and go to sleep, you've been exposed to songs, logos, commercials, companies, products. Did you learn about a new job? Like you have to find a job. We flipped it and said, we're gonna help jobs find you by leveraging social media algorithms and influencers and meet you where you're at. And when we got that language, all of our competitors are trying to help you find a job. We're helping jobs find you, they got it. And so going back to really painting the problem and putting a very clear value proposition using language, I think that really tip us over the edge, make him funny. Yeah.
Great answer. Anyone else have any other questions? Go for it.
So you mentioned earlier that like you probably should have like saved a little bit more money or whatever.
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
Before you started. So like, how would you say like like aspiring entrepreneur like managing the risk aspect of starting maybe too soon, or I don't know if that question isn't exactly phrased correctly, but basically what I'm trying to ask is like, when did you know exactly like, yeah, now's the time to start versus saving a little bit more and being a little bit more comfortable before you like actually started your new venture?
Yeah. So, I mean, like the way I look at it is, even if it's like I know y'all all go to a great school. It doesn't matter if you're like working in an ice cream store. Do whatever, but have some sort of stable income. That's my like piece of advice. Is like have stable income, and while you do that and work your butt off to like do something you might not even like, start working on your side hustle that you like. When you have really found, when you make money with your side hustle, or you fundraise, or there's some sort of stability, even if it's short term, that's when I took the leap. The problem was we were young and didn't know how to spend money. We raised like, $500,000 and then blew it because we didn't know how to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars, and we had a team trip to Colombia and partied and lost it all. It was ridiculous. I mean, there's the truth. So so get stable income. When you fundraise or you have traction, like actual clients that you make happy when they pay you and they want to come back, I think that's when you take the leap. But I wouldn't take the leap because you're just so excited and so passionate. You found something that's going to change the world, but you haven't actually like found financial stability in it yet. Yeah.
More questions?
These are great questions, by the way. Thank you all so much.
He's lying. He's flattering you guys. No, I'm joking. You guys are doing great. Yeah.
So you mentioned the importance of your mentor in your life.
Mm-hmm.
Would you have any tips on how to find a mentor, or just how to pick the right mentor?
Yeah, that's a really good question because I had to think about that. If someone's trying to tell you what to do, I don't typically trust them. And there's like if they work on how you can come to your conclusion or decision, I tend to gravitate towards those people. And I learned that from my dad. My dad never told me what to do. I mean, I'm the first, I don't know if there's like older siblings here. I'm like the screw up child. Like the mayor was talking about, like my whole family, doctors, engineers, like super Indian, and then I was like, I'm going to go do this startup thing. And I was really worried that like my parents would be like heck no. My mom kind of was, but that's just like how a mom loves, But my dad, he was like, okay, let's like think about why you want to do this and how are you thinking and what are your values and things like that. So mentors that really help me get better at thinking versus telling me what to do, those are the people I gravitated towards. And the way to meet them, honestly, just like I said, treat people with respect and just try to meet a lot of people without any end goal in mind. So, like some of my mentors, I didn't even approach them as mentors. Like, we were just talking. And then all of a sudden, I'm like, wait, I'm keeping you around. Like, you're going to be an advisor or a mentor or something like that. Yeah.
Mr. Kim.
Hi, my name's Alex. Just curious what your philosophy is about like recruiting and getting the right talent around you. And maybe you can speak a little bit more to getting that team of advisors.
Yeah. So Dan Gilbert taught me this. It was one of the best things he had taught me was finding the right people is actually probably top one or two hardest things as a startup founder. And a lot of people will confuse confidence for competence. There's a lot of confident people out there, but they don't actually know how to do anything. And that was Dan Gilbert's biggest flaw. He hired confident people and realized they weren't competent. And it screwed him so many times. And so one of the things that's my biggest flaw. Like if I vibe with you, I like you, and you're like speaking big game, you see the vision, I'm like hired. Then I'm like, wow, you actually don't know how to do anything, So I think people with confidence and competence, that's like the number one thing is find that package. The other thing is previous experience. Like I thought I could and maybe I'm just young and like still learning how to hire, but like I would just see someone's resume or like accomplishments and be like, oh my God, like they're so competent. Like the resume proves competency, but culture fit and being competent at your startup is very different than like what you've done in the past. So we I'm not going to hire you right away until you prove you've done something valuable for my company first. So it's almost like a little internship period or like a project or something, but I need proof of value for me before I can come to the conclusion that your resume competency is actually going to be relevant for me. that makes sense. So I think those were the two biggest things that I had to learn. And I mean, like we like got rid of a co-founder. Like we fired I guess quit our first hire. I mean, like it was bad. Like we had to like really go through the ringer of not having the right people on board. Yeah.
Anybody else? We have time for a few more. Yes, sir.
I just want to make a comment. Isn't that ironic considering you're kind of like an HR company?
Yeah, totally. But I was young, dude. Like, yeah. It is ironic. Thank you for that. No. It's actually just funny and witty. I appreciate it.
Yes, it's sort of a two-part question. So before you decided you want to be an entrepreneur, what did you want to be? And then what caused you to switch from that to wanting to be an entrepreneur?
So, I actually had no idea what I wanted to be. I thought I was going to go into like marketing or something just because I had no hard skills, dude. Like I was so bad at math. I was jokes aside, I was like the failure Indian of the Indian community. It was insane. Like I couldn't spell, I couldn't do math, couldn't develop. I was like playing football. My parents were like, who did we birth? Like, you know what I mean? So I had no idea. I thought I was going to go into like marketing or just something where I could like talk to people. But my eyes were open in Detroit. I mean, like I guess there wasn't really that much of a flip. I almost just went into college like, I don't know what I want to do. I'm just here to kind of figure it out. But Dan, changed my whole life. And quick story, I don't know if we're like running over time, but how I got into entrepreneurship with Dan Gilbert. So I don't know if y'all know, he's probably like one of the richest people that you haven't heard of behind the scenes. He's like worth like 30, 40 plus $1 billion. It's a lot of money. And he's so cool. He met with all the interns in like a very intimate table because he's like very like shoulder to shoulder type of thing, like not like the typical boardroom where like everyone's like spread out. And he comes in, he starts talking, and he goes on these tangents, like ridiculous tangents. He'll just talk. And you're like, where are you going with this? But he was like, did you know if you hold an egg in your hand and try to squeeze it, it's impossible for it to break? And I just chuckled. I was like, what are you talking about? Like, there's no way that's real. And he looks at me, he goes, oh yeah, you're calling BS? And I was like, first of all, this is my first time talking to a billionaire. I was like, oh my God, sorry for chuckling. But I was like, yeah, I mean, I don't believe it. So his assistant comes and brings an egg, which when you're a billionaire, you can just have eggs show up. So she brought an egg, and he gives it to me, and he's like, you look like you work out. Why don't you try? I'm like, all right. So I squeeze it, and I squeezed really hard. Like I was really trying to prove a point and not look stupid. And my wrist cracked. And I was like, oh my God, like you heard like a crack in my wrist. And everyone was like, oh my gosh, like this is real. And I was like, oh my gosh, like the egg won't break. He laughs in my face. He's like, try it again. And I'm like, okay. So I try again. I don't know what changed, but I exploded the egg and covered him in yolk. Like a $10,000 suit dripping down his face. It's on the projector, window, everything. Pin drop silence. Like I have never been truly at a loss of words where like I couldn't even squeal. I was literally paralyzed, like in fear. And I was like, oh my, like I was stuck. And then he jumps up, excuse my language, he's like, that's the craziest shit I've ever seen. And I was like, oh my God. So he goes to the bathroom, gets changed, comes back, and everyone's like freaking out, like, oh my God. He started calling me Scrambled. And I was like, yeah, okay, like, that's my new name. So then I come back for a return offer, and I look at him, and he walks, it was like 3, 4, 5 months later, he walks up to me and goes, you're that effing kid. And I'm like, yeah, I'm the dude that exploded the egg in your face. And he goes, me and my family have been squeezing jumbo-sized eggs, little eggs, and like whole thing in his driveway. I was like, so this time I was like, I got LeBron's owner and family like squeezing eggs in the driveway. Like it was so funny. But we had a special bond. And then after that, he just kind of was like, do what you want. And so I, not being a tech guy, found 2 interns that were way smarter than me. So they came on board, and it was funny. It was actually a trio of Indians in Detroit. That was also something I'd never seen. They were like, who are these 3 brown guys walking around Detroit? And so we started a company together. StockX was our first client. And Dan Gilbert, it's a whole story, but basically we pitched to him at the end, and he had made us wait 6 hours. We were supposed to meet at 2:30. It was almost like 10:30. It was really late. And he gets us in his SUV, drives us to his house. It's like cloudy and raining. It's like a movie scene. I was 19, I think. And I'm in the car, and he's like, give me the pitch. So we're like doing our pitch. Again, I've never really done this. At the end of the ride, he gets out of the car, and he goes, we started this internship program to find you 3. I'm giving you the golden ticket. FaceTime me from Paris, and we're going to make this happen. And that changed my entire life. And after that, I was like, the validation from someone like that was incredible, right? And then basically what he told me a year after that, when I worked part-time for Brown stuff, he was like, look, you skipped a bunch of steps and befriended a billionaire, F off, go do your own thing, impress other people, and next time I see you, you're gonna work with me, not for me. And that was the last, like, we had kind of talked about that. And he, sorry, wait, I know I'm going like, hold on. Okay, so I didn't FaceTime him from Paris, because like, why the hell would I FaceTime a billionaire in Paris with his family, like in vacation? So he sends me this text. Hold on, this is so funny. Okay, so he sends this text to me, my two co-founders and my mentor. Well, 3 young, smart, potential entrepreneurs, literally 2 weeks ago at this very same time, we were driving in an SUV heading towards my house as I was on my way to Europe that evening. All I could think about over the other side of the pond these past 14 days was the killer e-commerce technology company we were going to start and build together. But when I got back home, not only were you 3 packed and gone, the internship ended, but I never heard a single word from any of you. Nothing, zero, zip, nilch, nada, nil, nix, zot. Not a single text, email, phone call, not a word. And I believe I gave all 3 of you my iPhone number. I would not have predicted darkness, blankness, or the void after all the energy we had 14 days ago. WTF. Not a single version of what we talked about was advanced since I left. And then you left? Didn't even write me a Dear Danny letter on the way out? Dan G. And I freaked out after I saw that text. But the moral of the story was, he may have said it, very few people like come back. And I just took that like, hey, I'm giving you the golden ticket as like something that was like really nice to say, but like, he meant it. He was like, where the heck you go? Like, you didn't call me from Paris. And I was like, oh my God. And so after that, I was like, I learned to just follow through with people. No matter how imposter syndrome-y I was, or thinking that this guy, I was 19, dude. This dude owns the Cavs. Like, you know what I mean? I was like, I wasn't gonna call you. But then I learned, like, the imposter syndrome, the whole, that's on you. Like, being young and innovative, older people, rich people, like, I used to think my youth was a weakness. It's not. It's a strength if you can turn it into one. And so that really like, that's when I was like, wait, I can do whatever I want, young. And so that was, it was really, really eye-opening for me.
Amazing. Okay, this will be our last question, and then I'm going to pass it on. You guys are not very curious.
There are so many questions, though. They've been great.
No, not good enough. Not kidding. Yes, please, you. Last question.
What is the best media that you can consume? Whether it's a podcast, a book, maybe it's a textbook, I don't know. Anything that you have consumed that you think has really impacted the way that you view your company and like how you interact.
Yeah, so honestly, I'm going to plug my thing again. We'll put the QR code up. But you go to school, you learn like math and English and like, like whatever. Life, like, there are like life facts. Like 2 + 2 is 4. That's a fact, right? Like in life, there's a lot of things that we believe, and they don't really teach you like life facts. Like this is a timeless truth. And if you know that this is a fact or rational or logical, then you can live in accordance to that truth. So my Instagram Reels is 2 things. It's all the new AI stuff, and it's all these people talking about like life facts. Like what is the truth? How can you operate in accordance to true reality? And how can you get what you want? And so all my social media, it's so funny. Like my friends will text me like something they got on TikTok or Instagram. I'm like, wow, our feeds are so different. But mine is AI and using the cheat codes to, actually it's really good because like I said, I don't know text, so AI is doing all for me and I look really smart. But AI, and then understanding like from people that have lived longer than us, like what is something, if you live this certain way, certain outcomes will occur. Those are the 2 things that, I've like conditioned my social media feed to be. Yeah.
Okay, so we're kind of a little bit over time, so I want to give you the chance to talk about QLC really quickly.
Yeah, cool.
Tell them what this barcode is all about.
Yeah, so every month, I just started this recently, like literally 3 months ago. Every month we do a Zoom workshop. It's an hour long, free. And it's basically what I was talking about, these life facts and breaking down the curriculum of like the machine of life. What is that? And how can you use it to your advantage to do whatever the heck you want? What I discovered was that to get this information, you have to spend a bunch of money, right? Like the elites talk about this all the time. I had the same mentor that inspired the Wachowski sisters to produce The Matrix, Neil Patrick Harris, founder of Lululemon. Like all these guys talk about this stuff, but you have to spend a lot of money to get it. And the other thing is, it's always coming from someone that's like 40, 50, or 60 years old. So they're kind of disconnected from our generation. So I basically started a community, Quarter Life Crisis Social Club. We have a Discord, monthly workshops, and meetups in New York for people that are like trying to navigate life and get the information that like I was so blessed to have at a young age because of my parents, and then disseminate it to our generation, make it like Gen Z friendly. So if y'all are interested in like, what are some of the cheat codes that I've used to like become successful and be happy? Honestly, that's probably the most important thing. Y'all should come, and it's a really cool group of people, and we'll do like breakout rooms, you'll meet friends, and be in the Discord and all that type of stuff.
Gee, Vivek, when is the next QLC
Oh yeah,
workshop?
Tomorrow actually. Yeah, I think
oh, man.
7 p.m. Zoom. So if you sign up right there, and then yeah, hope to see you guys there.
I will be there. I've enjoyed all of them. Granted, this is the third one tomorrow, but they've been really cool, and you get to meet people from different parts of the world. Like, if you guys are here and you have any, inkling of caring about networking, there's some really cool people on there from different, I mean, I've seen other people that you work with that are Forbes 30. I've seen people that are like social media entrepreneurs that are at like, they're at, what was it? She's at Boston or Bain or?
Oh yeah. And influencers, yeah.
Influencers who are at.
Did y'all ever watch iCarly? Am I too old? Yeah, okay. Do you guys remember Neville Papperman? I Rue the Day? Reed Alexander? Yeah, he comes. He's gonna be a guest speaker soon. Like, we have like fun people that were like successful at a young age, but are acknowledging that like life is really hard. And this is what I did to like overcome it. Yeah.
Here's the thing, wild. That guy teaches here.
Oh my God, you're right, dude. That's so funny. Because he's supposed to come to my event. He was like, dude, I drunk lecture. I forgot about that. Dude, we're gonna call him right after.
Why isn't he here right now? You give
That's so funny. I didn't even send him the event. I didn't think about it.
That's amazing.
That's hilarious. Wow.
Anything else you want to add about QLC?
No, but just like life is really hard. No one ever gives you the understanding of like how to navigate it. You're not alone, and everyone telling you that like life is super easy and like I'm super successful, especially in the startup world. Like, social media is a lie, and we need to all embrace the struggle together. And like that's what we're really trying to do. Is like, it doesn't matter how successful or unsuccessful or whatever. Like, we're doing this together. So if you want to be part of that, love to see that.
Yeah, it's a great group of people. Okay, last thing I'll say. First off, can we get back to the first slide, the very first slide with the logo? Yeah, that one. Or I guess the LTI logo. Yeah,
that beautiful
perfect.
logo.
First off, can we do a big round of applause for the one and only?
Thank you. Okay, another one for you. One more. Yeah.
Okay, so I will not make you guys scan another QR code. I understand that there's a lot of photos being taken. I'm just going to give you guys one email address to reach out to. So this whole event was put together by LTI, the incorporation, LTI Inc., right? So this is a national thing that is hopefully starting a Miami chapter pretty soon. If you guys wish to be part of future events like this at the University of Miami with amazing speakers like Vivek, please email me acc303@miami.edu. I will repeat it once more. I'm just going to give you my email, make it very easy. acc303@miami.edu. Reach out to me if you want to get involved in future events that we'll have on campus in the Miami community. If you want to just get a coffee chat. This was an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much. Thank you to my family. Thank you to my friends. Thank you to LTI. These are a wonderful group of people. And I'm going to say one more thing about what we do. So this is a community of superstars, like crazy kids who are founding their own companies, kids who are working for Congress while being in university. We have kids who are helping in nonprofit consulting. We have kids being at Harvard, ex-MIT research institutes, like crazy, crazy stuff. And when you are part of this group, not only do you get to attend private events of these, like we formerly had the global CTO of IBM, the CEO of Bose, the global head of brand of WhatsApp, but you also get to do stuff like what we're about to do is we're going to get the privilege of taking our sponsors and Vivek to dinners. There will be also more networking events, so if you do want to get involved, that is the benefit. So acc303@miami.edu. Anyway, one big round of applause for Vivek Pandit. Okay, everyone feel free to go on their merry way or shake hands. I would encourage you to meet who's sitting next to you. If you know who's sitting next to you, then talk to who's sitting behind you. Anyway, thank you guys. Have a great evening.